So, you pay your bills on time. You're keeping those credit card balances way down. You feel like you're acing this whole adulting thing. But then you check your credit score, and it's dropped. Again. What in the world is going on? Well, the truth is, your score might be taking a quiet hit from some financial moves you thought were actually responsible, or maybe even a little bit smart. These are the secret credit score killers that nobody ever seems to warn you about. Think of your credit score as one of the most powerful numbers in your financial life. It's the magic number that dictates the interest rates you'll get on pretty much everything, from a new car to your first home. It can even affect how much you pay for insurance. A great score can literally save you tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. That's why it is so incredibly frustrating to see that number dip without any obvious reason. So today we're going to pull back the curtain on 7 of the most common things people do that they think are harmless, but are actually quietly hurting their credit score. And I promise you, a few of these are going to be real eye-openers. All right, let's kick things off with one that feels totally backward. You just made the final payment on your car loan or student loan. It's a huge moment, a total reason to pop some champagne, until you see your credit score take a small dip. Here's the deal. When you pay off an installment loan, that account gets closed. This can sting you in a couple of ways. First, it can mess with your credit mix. Lenders get a good feeling when they see you can juggle different kinds of credit, like installment loans with fixed payments, and revolving credit, like credit cards. If you pay off your only installment loan, your credit profile suddenly looks a little less diverse. Second, some data suggests that having an open installment loan with a really low balance is actually seen as less risky than having none at all. So, what's the fix? First off, don't panic. The dip is almost always small and temporary, and you should absolutely celebrate getting out of debt. The best way to balance this out is to make sure you have other open accounts, like a credit card or two, that you keep managing like a pro. This one is a classic blunder. You decide it's time to do some financial spring cleaning, so you snip up that no-frills credit card you've had since you were 18. It feels like organizing your wallet, but it can be a major self-sabotage. Closing an old card hurts you in 2 big ways. First, it can lower the average age of your credit history. A long, stable credit history is a huge plus for your score, so shutting down your oldest account can drag that average down fast. Second, it shrinks your total available credit. This immediately cranks up your credit utilization ratio. That's the fancy term for the percentage of your available credit you're using. And that can cause a serious drop in your score. The fix is usually pretty simple. If the card isn't costing you an annual fee, just keep it open. Use it for a tiny recurring bill, like your Netflix subscription, and set up autopay to pay it off in full each month. That keeps the account active and, more importantly, keeps that precious credit history intact. You're just trying to be a good person, helping out a friend or your younger sibling so they can get a car or their first apartment. It feels like a kind, simple favor. But to the credit bureaus, it's anything but harmless. When you co-sign, you are 100% on the hook for that debt, legally speaking. That loan shows up on your credit report just as if it were your own. So, if the person you co-signed for makes even one payment that's 30 days late, that late payment dings your credit score. And if they totally bail on the payments, you're on the line for the whole amount, and your credit can get wrecked. The solution here is to be incredibly careful. Think long and hard before you co-sign. Only do it if you have absolute, unwavering trust in the person and you are financially ready and willing to take over the entire loan payment yourself, no questions asked. This next one is a real gut punch because it can happen even when you've done nothing wrong. You're looking at your credit card statement and, surprise, your credit limit has been slashed. Card issuers absolutely can and do lower credit limits, often because of broader economic jitters, or if they start seeing you as a slightly riskier borrower. Here's the problem. Even if your spending habits haven't changed one bit, a lower limit means your credit utilization ratio can spike overnight and, you guessed it, hurt your score. The fix? Keep an eye on your accounts. If you see that a limit has been cut, you can try to quickly pay down the balance on that particular card to get its utilization rate back down to a healthy level. That $40 final utility bill that got lost in the mail when you moved, or a tiny medical copay you completely forgot about, they seem like no big deal. But these little debts are the silent assassins of a good credit score. While most utility and medical providers don't report your on-time payments, you can bet they will report you if a bill goes unpaid long enough to get sent to a collection agency. Once an account is in collections, it becomes a huge red flag on your credit report that can haunt you for up to 7 years. And the damage happens whether that collection is for $20 or $2,000. The solution is to be super meticulous. When you move, track those final bills. Always follow up on medical bills to make sure they've been fully paid, either by you or your insurance. You got a credit card just for emergencies, and it's been gathering dust in a drawer ever since. That sounds responsible, right? Well, not exactly. If a card stays inactive for too long, usually 6 to 12 months, the issuer might just close the account on you without any warning. This is called a closure due to inactivity, and the impact is pretty much the same as if you close the card yourself. It can shrink your average credit age and increase your credit utilization ratio, which can pull your score down. The fix for this is a piece of cake. Just use each of your cards for one tiny purchase every few months. Buy a coffee, reload a gift card for $1, anything. Then pay it off right away. This little bit of activity is all it takes to keep the account open and in good standing. You might think that having 1 or 2 credit cards that you manage perfectly is the gold standard of financial responsibility. And while that's definitely great, it's not the whole story. Lenders like to see that you can handle both revolving credit, like your credit cards, and installment loans, like a car loan, personal loan, or mortgage. This is what's known as your credit mix, and it's a real factor in your score, making up about 10% of it. If you've only ever had credit cards, your score might be missing out on points it could get from having a more diverse portfolio. Now, the fix isn't to run out and get a loan just for the heck of it, but if you're already planning on financing a car or another big purchase, it's good to know that adding an installment loan to your credit history can actually help your score in the long run by beefing up your credit mix. So there you have it. Paying off a loan, closing that old card, co-signing for a friend, getting your limit cut, forgetting tiny bills, letting cards go unused, and not having a diverse credit mix. These are the 7 harmless habits that could be secretly messing with your score.